Hi there, my name is Beck and the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. And Screen Rant just continues to be a font of YouTuber material. Especially about Doctoe Who. So I guess that's why they keep putting out these articles, because people like me make videos about them, and I guess they get more traction, so they keep doing. So I went to Screen Rant this morning. Opened up to look at the article that I want to talk about. It's about the music of the current era of Doctoe Who, which I have to tell you, I've never been a massic music file, right? I know a lot of people are, they're really into it, but music is something, it's like special effects, I think if you notice it, you've done it wrong. But now, I've been going back and I've been rewatching the 2005 onwards. And I've really noticed Murray Cole's work, much more, and more the absence of that, joyous, uplifting music that accompanied accompanied every episode, and uplifted even the most, mediocre of episodes. I was going to say dire, but I don't think there were any dire episodes. Even the most mediocre of episodes, and I really see the lack of that, the lack of that today. So fine, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about why this particular composer, Segun Akinola, was indeed hired. I'm going to ruminate about it. We're going to talk about what is a diversity hire. That's something we're really not allowed to talk about. It's one of those taboo subjects that you're not even allowed to mention or intimate exists. And I think there's a reason why we're not allowed to talk about that. So I'm going to give my opinion. It may well differ from yours. If it's different from yours, that's great. Listen, vive la différence. We should have different opinions in the world. We should be able to live with each other. If you disagree with me, let me know. Okay? If you want to come on the channel, let me know. I'm more than happy. I just want to address this fallacy, which sadly I always have to address it because it's absolutely crazy. That if you are a fan of the current era of Doctoe Who, which I'm not. I absolutely detest this current era of Doctoe Who. I want to be completely clear. I don't want to say it, but I really can't stand it. I have nothing against you. I don't know why anybody would have anything against somebody who just likes this era. If you like it, you like it. Good for you. Oftentimes, because of the people who like it, they act a bit strangely. The people who don't like it, they act kind of angrily to anybody who doesn't like it, and accuses them of all these crazy things, hey, you hate women. Honestly, really. Who hates women? Why? Honest, I'm heterosexual. I really like women. I really, really like women. Yeah, and I really like women liking me because, as I said, I'm heterosexual. So that's, I think there's a good reason to be nice and respectful to it. But anyway, so I just think that whole idea is just completely insane. But anyway, but again, if you like this era of Doctoe Who, God bless you. Nothing against you whatsoever. Fine. So I'll be before we get into the story, I'm about 30 subscribers away from 1,600. Can I ask you guys? Can you hit the subscribe? Now, obviously, if you're somebody who disagrees with me and thinks what I'm saying is evil and it should be cancelled, you got to hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss the evil things that are going to come out my mouth, so you can record them and put them on Twitter and cancel me. You're going to want to do that and tell all your friends to do it too. And if you have those sock puppet accounts, just get them all subscribing. That'd be really good. If you're on the other side of the argument and you're like what I like to call the sane people, hit subscribe. Go ahead. So now, what do you get if you hit subscribe? Well, you get to make a rabbi very happy. So I would say that in of itself, it's probably worth it, but I'm going to give you something else as well. I have weekly competitions, and I got a darn good prize this week. The prize this week is the Talons of Weng Chiang Special Edition 2-disc set. Freaking awesome story. Now, if you're not a massive Doctoe Who fan, well, why are you watching this video for? If you're not a massive Doctoe Who fan, this is just a great story. It's worth watching. There is a bit of an embarrassing special effect with a rat in it, which they redid in the Blu-ray. That's why I'm giving this away, because I just got the Blu-ray version of it. So there's a bit of an embarrassing special effect with a. Other than that, just primo uno Doctoe Who is wonderful, absolutely wonderful. So all you got to do to win it is subscribe to the channel, and in the video, in the comments, leave the hashtag Mr. Sin. Go check the video notes, and you can just copy and paste. We're going to do the prize draw. I think on Monday, not on Sunday. Normally do it on Sunday. I don't know what day of the week they it takes the 31st. I'm going to say 7th, Monday the 7th of September, around there sometime. Well, Friday's the 4th. So, yeah, okay, so it's not yeah, so Monday the 7th is when we're doing the giveaway. And then again, and good luck if you apply, if you enter. I've had a backlog of prizes from before the pandemic. I mean, it's like, I'm talking massive backlog. I've just packaged them up. They're hitting the mail today. So I hope to get the prizes out quicker in future. I do apologize for my tardiness. Fine. Okay, let's get started. Firstly, let's talk about what is a diversity hire. For me, the way I define it is if somebody is hired primarily for their identity, for their skin color, for their sexual orientation, for their ethnicity, for their gender, for their any of these, what I think are relatively surface traits. Now, if somebody is a diversity hire, it doesn't mean that they're incapable of doing the job. It doesn't mean that they're going to do a bad job. But practically speaking, more often than not, I think it does. I do think that people in the current era of Doctor Who are hired primarily because of their skin color. I think Segun Akinola no less than anyone else. So and this is in a push for to bring more diversity to TV, and it's a push that's really, in my mind, is utterly failing because the way they're doing it is wrong. The way they're doing it is. It's like what white people think that diverse TV looks like, and it really is. It's terrible. It's like if you want to see like black entertainment for black people and by and for black people, they're nothing like entertainment with black people by white people, made by white people. Like you get entertainment for black people is a Tyler Perry movie, which are just joyous, fun, silly movies, which are self-deprecating to their own society somewhat, which white entertainment for black people they can't do. You've only got I'm taking skin color as an example. If you're a white person writing a black person, right, you've only got a few personas. You can be like a soulful saint, or you can be a noble sufferer of oppression. But basically you're always a victim. It kind of reminds me, there's a great book called The Life and Scandalous Times of John Nathan Turner. And it gives you such an incredible three-dimensional portrait of who John Nathan Turner is and what happened to him in his life. It's a really great book. But they have Nicola Bryant in there. If you're not new to my channel, I obsess somewhat about Nicola Bryant because when I was... what was it, 12, 13, when I was like full scream puberty and like the hormones were going absolutely crazy, John Nathan Turner took this very, very attractive woman who was somewhat buxom, I would say, and squeezed her into spandex and really short shorts and heels. And oh boy, that made an impression on my young mind, and that impression's been there ever since. But she said about her costume in this book, women basically, each woman knows how to accentuate their own beauty, right? They know what looks good in her, and that costume is something that she would never have chosen in a billion years, right? She described it as a gay man's idea of what heterosexual attractiveness is. And you see it's very, very like unsettled, like builder. So again, I feel like the kind of entertainment that Piers Wenger, the director of programming of drama, I think, commissioning drama editor, whatever his name is at BBC, it's all very white. It's all very white version of what they think black people should want and how what they think black people, rather than having black creators or women creators. Doctor Who is a great example. And what I think they really should, what I think the BBC should really be doing, if they want to like add different perspective and different voices from that represent Britain and England, England, Scotland, and Ireland, Wales. If they want to do that, I think they should take 25% of their programming, which I think is about the percentage of what's the acronym, BAME, right? Black, Asian, Don't know what the Emmy is. Okay, I don't know what the Emmy is, but yeah, I think that's about the percentage, right? Of that represents the percentage of people in, of that demographic in the UK, and have them create, specifically have a goal to target. You will have black people making shows, not just being in front of the camera, but I think you've got to have that if you're going to have different cultures, which I say England is a wonderful smorgasbord, a wonderful quiltwork of different cultures. If you want to have all those different cultures, you got to have those cultures speak for themselves, right? So you got to have like Asian comedies, you got to have you got to have like female led action adventure shows, and I really just think it was they really missed the trick. Rather than fundamentally changing Doctor Who, they've really changed the character of Doctor Who. I just don't think they understand the character at all. What they really should have done is start from the ground up and create their own thing. They want to put it in the Doctor Who universe. There was 2 great examples. I can give you 3 great examples of things they could have done. They could have done the Clara and Alessandra. What's her name? I can't remember the name. The Maisie Williams. You could have had a season. Easily have a series out of that. Them adventuring time and space. You could have had. They were going to do a Rose Tyler Earth Defense special. Big Finish just put. They got the Paternoster gang. That's totally a female-led science fiction thing. Or you could do something completely different. Or Big Finish put out this incredible box set called Donna Noble Kidnapped. Freaking brilliant. If they had just filmed that, right? That would be getting audiences of like 9-10 million. Because it's really, really good. And it's female-led, You get that femininity in that adventure, which I really think is just so so lacking. So absolutely, because I just feel the Crypt Chibnall era has failed on just about every level. So I think what they do is they look for the identities that they want behind, they want to hire. These white people want to hire people of different of these identities, basically to tokenize them and make themselves feel good about it, which is just disgusting, right? And then they try and find somebody who fits that. And I think the problem with that, right? Again, we get back to diversity. The problem with that is, oftentimes you get people who are just not suited for Doctor Who, just not suited for that particular media. And I think that's probably true of Segun Akinola. I guess his work, it strikes me how how Murray Gold described his initial pass, his initial look at what the sound for Doctor Who would be in 2005. It's like lots of very weird, spacey sounds. It wasn't very melodic or anything. And so it sounds kind of like that. So, I think another trouble with diversity hires is that you can't tell them they've done anything that isn't working, because you hire them for their identity. If you hire somebody for their identity, if the person is still black, he's still black, And also, I think there's a lot of guilt wrapped around. Like, I don't think Chris Chibnall wants to give direction to people he feels are protected classes, right? So we just get things that aren't working, I think the music is a great example. The writing's another example. Now, listen, writing, enjoyment of something is subjective. I just find the current era is so. Other than preachiness, which is very, very preachy, other than the preachiness, so incredibly dull and unengaging. I can't. To me, it's insane that the Villa of Dildio, or whatever it's called, is considered like the high spot of the season 12. It was dull as ditchwater. It was like, Can You Hear Me? Praxius, Orphan 55. These are all terrible stories. Absolute terrible story. In my subjective opinion. If you like them, great. You like them. I think they're awful. Anyway, so let's read this article with all that in mind from Screen Rant and see if we agree or disagree. Doctor Who's new music reveals a problem with the Whittaker's era. I think they should rephrase it to reveals one of the problems. So Whittaker's era. Unless it is, they're going to say diversity hires, then I'm going to be like, okay, that's pretty much it. Recent interview with Doctor Who composer Segun Akinola shines a fascinating light on one of the many problems facing the current series. So yeah, I have to say, when the series started, I really wanted to like it, and I felt the new theme tune was okay. I thought it was okay, and I kind of like they had a little bit of a Doctor Who motif going on when Jodie Whittaker arrived. I thought that was good, but yeah, to me again, it just sounds like it's being played underwater now. Like now I just can't stand it. So everything I see about it, I don't like, But it just to me sounds like they playing music underwater. So you got and they very samey, repeating stuff over and again. I just feel that Murray Gold's soundtrack was joyous. It was uplifting, which again this show is not uplifting in any way for me at all. Doctor Who's new music neatly symbolises the problem with the Chris Chibnall era. Please do tell. The classic Doctor Who series is largely divided by main actors. I think that's fair. I think we think of the Tom Baker era rather than the Graham Williams era. I mean, look, honestly, I'm a geek, so I think of like Hinchcliffe, Graham. I think of producers, but yeah, I can see how most people did subdivide by actors. I mean, think of the Hartnell era, the time of Tom Baker, or the McCoy era. But the relaunch Doctor Who series is characterized more differently. Distinctive showrunners, Russell T Davies era, Stephen Moffat run, and now the age of Chris Chibnall. I think that's the I'm agreeing with Screen Rant. I hear angels singing. I hear the fabric of reality tearing. This is not what I expected to be doing this morning. Chris Chibnall's run has proved divisive. That is true. Whoa, yeah, Screen Rant. We are batting 100 right now. The current showrunner believes Doctor Who should be educational. Well, I have to tell you, I don't think it is so educational. I think because it's been written so badly and ham-fistedly, it's not really educational. And also, given their very very clear political and ideological biases, I'm not really interested in hearing Chris Chibnall's take on anything. Quite frankly, I've seen your take on the current day, and it's wrong. And it's insane. It's just based on virtue signaling nonsense. So why am I going to want you to educate me on anything? This is actually what one of the things that goes wrong when you do get overtly ideological. Now, the fans of this era will disingenuously say, "Well, Doctor Who's always had a political bias," and they I remember, one of them on Twitter pulled up a screen grab from Remembrance of the Daleks of Ace going and seeing the sign saying no colours. And it did deal with the reality of racism in the 60s. That was the 60s. Listen, I don't think anybody in 2020 or even in 2010 or 2000 or 1990, even 1980 I think 1981 you would run into problem with having a no coloured sign. It's not the country that we live in anymore. We are not those people. And I tell you, England is a wonderfully multicultural country. It really is. London, especially, a wonderfully multicultural, open, inviting, loving society. And that's one thing that makes England so great. Fine. So I don't feel it's that educational anymore because it's doing it bad. Actually, Philip Hinchcliffe had this great quote where he says, "Doctor Who is this show that will find you out. That if you are not up to snuff, if your work isn't good enough, Doctor Who is the show that you need to be great at everything to make it work. You really need to be on your game as a writer to make it work." And Chris Chibnall, I just don't think is. I think it's just shining a massive light on his failings. And I can see the things he's done to get by in the past now. Honestly, I don't know how well it's going to do his career in the future. Maybe that's why he wants to stay on. It's the only job he can get. Who knows? Although, the entertainment industry is so stupid and up its own arse. They'll never admit things went badly, even though the viewing figures have imploded completely. The current show believes Doctor Who should be educational. And again, I'm going to say Doctor Who was always more educational than it is now. As I'm going to say, Doctor Who was always more diverse than it is now. I don't remember a time when I saw an entire season go by with no character, no female character I found compelling or believable in any way, or that I could root for or care about, or a black person or an Asian person, or whatever these stupid, meaningless surface things that these crazy people have determined are all important. I can't remember any time that we see people see minorities and they're just completely bland. And the reason they're completely bland, by the way, is as well as insisting on this false representation, which is, again, I think tokenism, both behind them, and in front of the camera. Yeah, is that once you have these tokens, these tokens on your screen, designed to make the white people making the shows feel good about themselves. It's designed to make Piers Wenger feel good about himself. It's designed to make Chris Chibnall feel good about himself. Once you have these tokens, you're not allowed to have anything bad happen to them. You're not allowed to have any adversity happen, because adversity is the worst thing in the world to these crazy people. So you're not allowed to have any adversity, resulting in really boring TV, and thus TV audiences fall in general, and they go, well, they're watching Netflix. Yeah, they're watching Netflix because Netflix has something on that people might want to see. Netflix is a company that wants to make money, and they want to make money, so they want to produce something that the paying customers want to see, because their paying customers will not pay for the BBC, what the BBC's output. They will not pay for this one-sided thing. That's not to say Netflix doesn't do anything that appeals to the other side of the ideological ultimate, and saying Netflix does things for everybody. Netflix is diverse, which BBC so incredibly fails to do. And again, I'm a big believer in letting the marketplace decide. I think the marketplace will always dictate the what's good and what's bad, what's moral and what isn't. That's why I think they want to take a lot of these, again, people on the other side, the ideological, want to take away the freedom of the marketplace to do that and cancel people, right? Because they're intolerable. No, if they want somebody's done something that's intolerable and they need to be cancelled, they should be cancelled, then people will just not buy their stuff. Nobody needs to tell anybody on Twitter not to buy their stuff if they've done something, discuss. Like, Mel Gibson wasn't cancelled, but people just stopped, buying his stuff because it's kind of anti-Semitic, like very, very outwardly anti-Semitic. What can you do? I mean, that's wearing off, but it basically killed his career. It did kill his career, which is a shame. One of the greatest filmmakers, one of the greatest directors in Hollywood in, I don't know, the last 30, 40 years. Okay, so has proved divisive. So it's educational. It's not, because no one's watching, and you've got a massive bias, and you're not educating anyone. You're failing, and as such has enjoyed some carefully structured historical episodes. Nothing has been carefully structured. If it's carefully structured to bore you, then yes, I hope they're going to give some examples. Presented quite strong social commentary on current issues. Yes, I have. No, it hasn't been overly subtle. And again, you're not educating me on anything, Chibnall, at all. You're telling me what you think, and what you think is freaking bonkers, right? It's freaking bonkers. I'm sorry that the reality is that for most human beings, for I think the entirety, when I say most, 99.9, for the entirety of our species' existence, the gender hasn't been fluid. Gender is actually a core part of one's identity and isn't fluid. Now, that's not to say for some people it is fluid. I'm not going to deny that's going on. But to say that the entirety of humanity is completely both sexually and gender fluid is just, it's insane. It's pure insanity. And I think that's the quite strong social commentary on current issues that they're talking about. Trying to say that racism it plays any part in Western society, which I know is a narrative. Like, we are under siege by racists everywhere, but it's just not true. Again, if you could put a sign saying no colours in a window. Oh, I forgot. I lost that thread. If you can put a sign saying no colours in the window in 1963, and you can't in 83, I think that shows that racism isn't the thing. That's why you keep having to go back 50 years in the past to show racism in a world that looks vaguely like ours. So I was going to say, yeah, the people on the other side of the aisle always disingenuously say, there's always been, social commentary and Doctor. But, Sylvester McCoy put out a thing saying that Remembrance of the Daleks is basically an ode to Black Lives Matter, which I just disagree with. I disagree. I think it's an ode to anti-racism, but I don't think Black Lives Matter in any way demonstrate. Proposal that I don't think Black Lives Matter is an organization that has racial harmony or harmony in any way. As its major major thrust. I don't think it has the success and happiness of anybody as its raison d'etre, regardless of their skin color. I disagree with Sylvester McCoy that say that Remembrance of the Daleks is an ode to Black Lives Matter, because it's not. It's an ode to anti-racism, and again, we don't live in a racist society. We just don't. We don't. And I think the greatest proof of that is that being labelled a racist is one of the worst things that can happen to you. So if that's the case, I don't think racism is a socially acceptable thing. So I don't think it's really a part of Western society. So that's what I think about Chibnall's commentary on current issues. He's determined to leave his mark on the franchise by destroying it. You can leave a mark by doing something wonderful, or you can make a mark by taking a massive dump all over it. So he went for door number 2, and in Doctor Who season 12, he retcons the show's entire history. Yeah, look, for me, whatever you want to look at it, it's fine. I've cauterized this era from Doctor Who in my headcanon. I've re-edited Twice Upon a Time when Capaldi starts to regenerate. It fades to white. And we cut to an exterior shot of the TARDIS. Cue titles. And when and if ever Doctor Who comes back in a watchable form, in a form that isn't as awful as it's been in the last 2 years, I will find a way of just retconning around it, and I will ignore it forever. And I think this era will be ignored forever if Doctor Who is to continue, because the supporters of it, they are just too few and far between to sustain it. Honestly, if it was successful and I was a very, very minor minority. Well, I am a very minor minority, but I'm not a minority voice. I think I resonate with much of fandom. What I'm saying here. But if it wasn't that way, if it didn't work out, if it worked out, I'll be like, yeah, okay, so Doctor Who's changed a lot for me. I'm going to enjoy everything up until here. But I just think this has got to go at some point. Okay. He revealed the Doctor is actually the timeless child, an ancient being who potentially predates the entire universe, and who became the base genetic code for the entire Time Lord race. It's just not very good, mate. It wasn't very. It was a revelation, but not one that made sense or was good. This has understandably divided the fan base. Actually, it hasn't. I think it's united the fan base. We have a tiny clump of people who insist it's the greatest thing ever, and they scream down anybody who disagrees with them, and they don't want to hear it. By the way, that's why they don't want to talk about diversity hires. So I was going to say, what is a diversity hire, and why is it a taboo subject? It's a taboo subject because I think this era is defined by diversity hires, and they want to avoid that conversation. They want to sidestep that completely, as they want to sidestep any difficult question like ratings, whatever. Well, I just pressed the wrong button. Let's go back. There we go. This is undivided fan base, with some wishing it could be retconned away. That's me! And others interested to see where it goes then. That's not me. The problems run a lot deeper than the Timeless Child retcon, however, as was revealed in a recent interview with composer Segun Akinola. Whoa, we are half an hour in. We're just up to the bloody point. Here we go. Flickering Myth recently asked Akinola about his approach to composing music for Doctor Who's classic monsters, and his responses were fascinating. Okay, I'm intrigued. Color me interested. Surprising, Akinola chose not to look back at any previous episodes for inspiration. In terms of music, he says, I'm reading the quote, it's just been a blank slate. Yeah, again, and it would, listen, if it works, it's fine. And quite frankly, I have to tell you, I think the Sidemen design in Timeless Children is fantastic. I think it's probably the best Sideman design I can think of. As Rank say, he explained, yes, Sidemen are coming back, but it's a blank slate and they're going to have a new theme. Yeah, because all the other ones really didn't work, did they? Even Captain Jack has a new theme. Yeah, and none of it's working. None of it's working, but Chris Chibnall can't tell you that because then he becomes a white oppressor as opposed to a white knight, which is what he wants to be. He doesn't want to be a white oppressor. The problem with this approach removes any sense of musical continuity between the age of previous composer Murray Gold and successor Akinola is treating Doctor Who as though it was a brand new series. And again, why didn't they just make a new series from the ground up? You know, why didn't they make a fun, exciting, feminine sci-fi adventure? And do you know the advantage of that, by the way? If you do that, if you want to go in a new direction, you normally get something much better. I mean, the best example I can think of is Watchmen. So Alan Moore, the writer of Watchmen, wanted to do something with the Charlton heroes, and they were being used by somebody else. You know, they just got acquired by DC, and they were being used by somebody else. So they said, okay, we'll just make our own versions of it, and having that creative freedom. Creative freedom really just made it bloom and explode. So it's like, you should have just built it from the ground up. But okay, fine. Akino's treating it as a brand new series, though he has no lessons learned from the recent past. That's so true. They made so many mistakes that Russell T Davies made in the opening few episodes. He kind of worked them all out pretty darn quickly. The same appears to be true for Chibnall himself. In truth, Chibnall doesn't seem to be willing. Doesn't seem to have been willing to learn anything, and he just full stop period right there. You'll be fine. But the sentence continues. From the Davis or the Moffat eras, the timeless child retcon fits with classic Who. No, it doesn't, but not modern Who. It doesn't fit with any Who whatsoever. William Hartnell was always the first Doctor. William Hartnell in classic Who, in modern Who, William Hartnell was always the first Doctor. And by the way, the plan for the Timeless Children, I don't know if they're going to go through with it, probably will. They probably will, is that they don't want to happen pre-Hartnell, or they can be peppered in between the regeneration somehow. Don't know how, don't care, don't know, don't really my problem. I'll watch it to review it, but again, for me, this is just so not Doctor Who. Fine. Which makes sense given that Chibnall that makes sense, but you're wrong. It was an idea Chibnall came up with when he was growing up, watching the original series in the 1980s. Yeah, when he was lambasting Pip and Jane Baker for having tired, repetitive, derivative stories. I can't think of any better way of describing the Chibnall era as being tired, repetitive, and derivative. I mean, honestly, it just seems to be like, you say you didn't learn anything from the Moffat or the Russell T Davies era. However, he does seem to be trying to replicate their greatest hits and things that work there, and failing, because, as Philip Hitchcock said, Doctor Who is the show that will find you out. Although the production value on Doctor Who has never been better in visual terms, I disagree. Again, there are some shots that are very good, like the crashing spaceship in the Ghost Monument was very good. The crashing airplane in Spyfall, very good. That will work. But generally speaking, I actually found the visuals a little bit ropey, quite frankly. It's never been better in terms of the pace of the episodes has slowed countless scenes that take place in static shots, with the diners of Davis's relaunch forgotten. Yeah, it's again just boring. It's just boring on every level. The script is boring, it's directed boring, everything's boring because they got to hire people with the right identities, whether they have an aptitude for this, whether they have an affinity for this or not. And yet, for all that's the case, Chibnall is clearly ambitious to permanently transform the franchise. Yes, he wants to get rid of those problematic white men. He does. He's part again. White people making entertainment for black people, telling them what they want, and completely misunderstanding. Honestly, I would. You know who I would be much more interested in being the showrunner for Doctor Who right now? Noel Clarke. I would rather. Again, if you want to have a diverse show. You've got to have a diverse creative team, and that comes from the leadership. So Piers Wenger, who's earning 250 grand a year, maybe you should step down if you want more diversity. Maybe you should step down, or you should find your BAME successor, and Chris Chibnall too. Yeah, maybe you should do that, or maybe you're just full of crap. Maybe you're just a lying piece of human filth. That could be as well. That's kind of what I think. Countless taking shots, and yet for all the I'm fine. On the final, this fundamental problem with approach. This is a fundamental problem with approach. It forgets the entire generation of fans who fell in love with Doctor Who through the Davis eras, the Moffat eras, and also the Hartnell, Troughton, Pertwee, Baker, Davison, Colin Baker, Sylvester McCoy, Paul McGann, and yeah, let's throw the War Doctor in as well. Why not? We all hate it. We all hate it. I think the people loving this era they very much. And it's a really weird way of looking at the world. But I think people who love this era see this weird connection between liking this era of Doctor Who or not liking it, and politically being in favour of the current government in England or in America. Right? They see it being if you dislike this show, then you like the governments, right? And so they can't like those governments, so they gotta like the show. And it's just. Okay, you're crazy. You're a crazy person if you think that way. But I think that's how they think. Fine. Will only succeed so long as they keep these viewers on, tuning in. Yeah, and they've all stopped. Yeah, it's not the fans that they've really lost. It's the normies. The normies. They've re-educated the normies to understand that Doctor Who is not a fun show. It is a dour, boring preach, because that's what it basically is. And that's why they turned off in droves. And also, I do think the fan audience does drive the normie audience, and which is why I think the fans of this era are so vocal, and so eager to silence the people who hate it, right? Because I do think the fan audience drives the normie audience. Yes, it's fun for a showrunner composer to want to make their mark and create something unique. Well, maybe create something unique then, rather than like becoming a magpie and sitting in somebody else's nest. But there needs to be a sense of continuity. Audiences love Doctor Who. They used to, but that means people have their own ideas on what the Doctor should look and sound like. Honestly, I think it could have worked with a female Doctor. I just think they pissed that away. Totally by just doing bad work. If you forget that, you'll simply irritate people. I think that's what happened. And get them changing the channel. You get that happening more often if they're just bored. By what they're doing. So there you go. That's a bit of an interesting little voyage of discovery. Again, you disagree with me about diversity hires, about anything, get in contact. Leave a comment. Want to come on the channel and rebuff me? Fine. I'm totally fine with any of that. My name is Segun Akinola, the Rabbi from another channel, and a Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.